YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this Saturday afternoon about 1 p.m. Not quite, real close. A nice sunny day outside. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. As always, like and subscribe. Check the doobly-doo for notes. Tell your friends. Let's grow the Meanie Army. Let's see if we got any shout-outs to do. If we have any new subscribers. We'll check and see what we got going on. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in sunny Duluth. It doesn't look like we have any new subscribers this week, or from the last time that I posted a video. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. One of my viewers had posted that I apparently had not done a review of What's Old is New, and I thought I did. I think it was in conjunction with the Aliens RPG that I had talked about What's Old is New. And you can probably see them right there underneath the giant D20 cookie jar. Those are the 3 digest sizes that my good buddy Brian sent me as just a cool present because he wasn't sure if I was aware of the game or not. And I told him that I knew about it, but I only had the PDF. They had a free version go out a couple years ago. And so he sent me those. They were the digest size, and they're great. They're just a little hard to read because it's a very small print, and I'm old. So I couldn't resist. I went and I got a couple things, but I went and I knew I was going to run a What's Old is New sci-fi setting, so I went and got the new book, version 1.2, which is the latest version, and I went and got it spiral bound. And that was after Brian had got me that copy, and I had read the new rules, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just what I'm looking for. I'm excited. It's a very simple rule system, but yet it's very flexible and it's very open. And so I picked this up, and I printed it off, and then I had it spiral bound. It costs like $5-6 at your local copy center place. I have a UPS store, and they do it for me. So totally worth it. So I thought, like I said, I had done a review. I know I've done a review of the Starship Recognition Manual, which I just got a couple weeks ago. If you're a GM or you're a player and you're really into making ships and you want a little mathematical formula, this book is your best friend. It's got all the pertinent data in it that you'll need, and it is really well done. It's very cool. So we're going to cover all 3 formats, but we're mainly going to be talking about old and new because I don't have much interest in the now setting. But here's the 2 hardbacks, stitch bound, perfect bound, glued, hardback, very well done. Both version 1.2. I got the new because they had the Kickstarter for the Soul Space, which was a sci-fi setting and adventure from Ian World Publishing. And I really liked it. And one of the options they had was to pick up via the Kickstarter. You could get a hard copy of the rule book for like $40, which that's a bargain as far as I'm concerned, because I think this thing retails normally for like $50. So anyway, these are available on DriveThruRPG. Feel free to click the link down below in the doobly-doo. That's my affiliate link. Doesn't cost you anything extra. Doesn't cost the company anything extra, but it does give me a little bit of a cut. So I do appreciate it, and that money goes back into the channel. So thank you guys very much for using it. So if you haven't picked this up yet, and you can get it through print on demand as well as PDF, of course, through DriveThru. And like I said, if you use my affiliate link, I get kicked back a couple bucks. I think this is worth a buy, but let's go through this like I do all my reviews. Let's talk about what I like. And we're going to kind of, because I felt like I've talked about new quite a bit, and of course I'm running a bi-weekly campaign, so I want to talk about old. I also want to give a shout out to Demiplane. I'm going to put a link down in the doobly-doo. Demiplane is a free service that it unites players and GMs looking for each other. It's not a game hosting or anything like that. It's not like Fantasy Grounds or Roll20 or Foundry. It is just a place where players can meet up and advertise that, hey, we have a gaming group, but we need a GM, and vice versa. and I'm on it. Mr. Mean is on it, and I'm supporting it. I'm running a What's Old is New old game, so go on there and look for it. I think they do have an option to be paid for. There is some cost associated with hosting games. You got to pay for your internet, and you get paid for books and stuff like that. So I am charging $5 a game session. So that's really nominal. Of course, the Demiplane people get a small cut of that, but for the most part, most of the money goes to me, and I'll put that back into the channel. So just full disclosure, Demiplane did not offer me anything or ask me to promote their service, but I think it's a good service, especially in these COVID times where we have to play online, and they want to keep social distancing as much as possible. Playing online is a great way to do it. I use Discord, and we roll real dice, and so far it's been working out really well. I have been using Roll20 for my sci-fi game, and most of the players are rolling the dice mechanic system in Roll20, but I roll real dice. So anyway, go check out Demiplane. I'll put a link down in the doobly-doo. It's a very cool service, and it's free to you, and it's free to GMs. You don't have to charge for your games. I just thought I put a lot of time and effort in my games. It'd be nice to get a little kickback. So hopefully you'll get a couple players interested. They just went live on June 1st, so check them out. Anyway, enough of that. So we're going to focus mostly on the old book because it's the one that I'm the least familiar with. I've been running a sci-fi game. The mechanics are exactly the same. In the sci-fi game, it's called psionics. In the fantasy game, it's called magic. It is a very cool system. This is a stat and a skill. You total that up, and I'm sorry, there's noise outside. It discombobulated me. It's a stat and a skill. You create a dice pool, and then plus or minus modifiers. Modifiers are in the form of dice, which is kind of nice because there's not a lot of math in this game, which is kind of cool. It's a very streamlined system, very fast. The caveat, and there's always a caveat with every role-playing game. The caveat is that making a character takes a minute. Not terribly long. I'd say shorter than D&D, but longer than Savage Worlds, if that's a frame of reference for everybody. I don't know about you guys, but I can whip out a Savage Worlds character in under 10 minutes. It's that easy for me. But this takes a little bit longer, but it is pretty fast, and I don't think it's as long as it is in D&D. You have a plethora of choices in here. And it goes for the Now book and the New book. New equals sci-fi, Now is modern times, and Old is fantasy. In all three of these books, there are no default settings. There are no default assumptions of your setting. There's no good versus evil or neutral or anything like that. That's all left up to the GM. There is mechanics in here for alignment and stuff like that, but it is not. You don't have to use it. So basically, you're going to roll. You're going to choose a race. You're going to choose basically a class or a career, and you're going to make a number of choices. And then when it's all said and done, those choices are going to equate to a total on your attributes. You're going to look at a chart. Basically, it's a default chart, and everybody's is the same. You're going to take whatever that number is, and it's going to equate to a die code. So like for 1 to 2, it's 1d6. From 3 to, I believe, 7, it's 2d6, and from 8 to 11, it's 4d6, and so on and so forth. You start with careers, 1 being an origin, and then 4 careers. So the default starting career level is 5. Your origin counts as a career, and in some cases, you can take an origin multiple times, but once you career out of your origin, you can't go back. So if it's a really good origin and it really fits your character, you might want to take it once or twice, maybe even 3 times. Every time it gives you a skill, you take a pick. That pick equates to a number, and so it goes up. And then again, once you get your total, you've done with all 5 of your careers, you'll look at your total number for your skills, and then that'll equate to a dice code. And so then you'll take that attribute that you've already turned into a die code, and then your skill, that's a die code now, and you'll add those together. And if you're a starting level character, they recommend 5 careers. I don't want to say levels, but it's basically almost like levels. So if you're a 5 career starting level character, your maximum die pool is equal to your career level. So it's 5 dice. And you say, well, man, 5 dice is going to be really hard when you start throwing in negative die modifiers. But the thing is, the game encourages you to use your luck. Luck is one of your primary attributes. Excuse me, and it's a point for point system. So if you spend 1 point of luck, that equates to a 1d6. What's nice about luck is you don't you're allowed to break that die cap based on your career level. So again, starting characters are 5 careers, so they have a die pool of 5d6. Now that can be modified by exceptional equipment, which is on average a 2d6, maybe a 1d6. Situations, which can be a positive or a negative 1d6 as much as a 3 or 4d6. Again, positive or negative. So that 5 die pool is gonna fluctuate. And the nice part is, when you make your character, you don't have to sweat about, oh gosh, everything I want to do, I need to have 5d6 in it. Because again, you're going to be in situations where you're going to have positive and negative modifiers. If you're going to be a bounty hunter and you're really good with blasters or a pistol or a handgun, you're probably going to have, you're probably going to be sitting at, 3 to 4 to 5d6 for your die code. And then if you roll well to figure out your starting income, or if the GM's benevolent, you may start out with an exceptional pistol or rifle that is your main weapon, and that may, on average, a default exceptional item gives you an extra 2d6. So now you went from, let's say you're able to cap out your attribute and your skill, so you're at a 5d6. On top of that, you get to add 2d6 for your weapon. But then you say, oh, well, you're at super long range, and your weapon may not necessarily be good at super long range, so the GM is going to impose a 3d6 penalty. It's a pretty steep penalty, but for argument's sake, let's say. So now your 7d6 has now come down to a 4d6, but you're on the high ground, so that adds another 2d6 for whatever reason, and just arbitrary. So the bottom line is, what's nice about this system is the die pool is going to fluctuate, but you have a lot of control as a player and or GM, in that you can say, oh, I've got over 5 dice. A lot of times what you're going to do, because we are talking a sci-fi or a fantasy or even a modern game where there's armor involved or there's abilities involved, that is going to make the characters, your target's toughness, harder to hurt or harder to damage. You can turn those extra dice that go over your 5d6, if you have them, you can turn them into damage dice. So say your blaster pistol's doing 2d6, but you're 7d6. Well, your max is only 5d6. You can take 2 of those dice, add it to your damage. Now you're rolling 4d6, and that person you're trying to shoot may have a ranged damage threshold of, say, 18. Well, that's going to be hard to hit on 2d6. In fact, nigh impossible. So you're either going to have to add luck, or you're going to have to work the modifiers, as they say. So it's a great way. Starting level characters, fifth 5 career characters, are going to have a hard time hurting higher, more advanced characters or heavily armored characters, whether it be fantasy or sci-fi or even modern with Kevlar armor and stuff like that. So you want to manipulate the dice pool, and the game encourages you to do that with a luck pool, situational modifiers, and equipment modifiers. So it's a very, very flexible system, and we're only 2 games into it now, and my players have picked up on it very quickly, and they are manipulating the dice so that they can get the best bang for their buck, and it's working out really well. I'm very impressed with the system. So the quality of the books, they're hardback, they are stitched and glued, no internal bookmark, but then again, you're talking a $50 book. The art is not the greatest. The layout is phenomenal. It's well written. I haven't found too many typos in the sci-fi book or the old book. I haven't really looked at the now book because it's in digest size and it's just taxing on my eyes to read. But I have it, and I'm grateful that I have it. And it's the same quality as these. It's just shrunk down into that digest size. The layout of the book is stellar. There's an index, to tell you table of contents wherever you need to go, and then there is an index in the back, which is very comprehensive. There's a character sheet in the back of each book, so that makes it useful. You can also go to www.what'soldisnewrpg or WOINRPG.com, and they have a download as a resource. They even have a pretty nifty character generator where you can just go through this basic web page, make a couple of choices, and build your character. So if your GM doesn't have pre-gens or you want to try it out, maybe do a couple mock combats between two characters, you can go there and you can zip up some characters real quick and you can play it. The art runs the gamut of, I believe, free art and then commissioned art. It's the fantasy book is pretty good. The sci-fi book was okay, but we've got some cool art like the dragon there. So some of the art is really good. The book layout, like I said, is fantastic. I like it. It's muted colors. It's printed on a nice thick paper. This book is going to last you a long time, and it's really, really good. Nice blurb on the back. I'm not going to go into it. Version 1.2 is the latest, so you want to make sure you look for that, and that's on each platform. Old, now, and new are all on version 1.2. Russ Morrissey and Ian World Publishing do support this with a Patreon. And if you join the Patreon, you get access to a lot of their files. And I think every month or every couple of weeks, they come out with supplemental material for all of the different settings. And you can subscribe to whichever one you want. If you're running a modern game, you could subscribe to the Now on the Patreon, and it would give you all the freebies that you want. And then they're supporting the game. It's very well done. The forums are active. They have a Discord. Everything else. I can't say enough good about it, guys. After running it for 2 sessions now, I want to run another fantasy campaign because I love the magic system in here. The magic system is very free form. You kind of create your own spells, but you have to take backgrounds or specialties. So you want to be a fire mage, you need to know the secrets of fire magic, and then obviously you go from there and it goes up, and those are all the different spheres. It's just really, really well done. I have to say, I'm very. It does use a magic point system, just like the psionics uses a psi points. And you have magic skills, which is the type of magic, such as abjuration, summoning, healing, and so on. Not only do these skills grant access to specific forms of magic, but higher ranks in those skills grant access to more complex and powerful enchantments. So it's a very robust but vanilla magic system, which I think is really cool, because you can make the spells you want, or curses or whatever. They have a couple in here that are listed. We've got cool art, that screams necromancer or somebody nasty. I don't want to run into them. And so it's very well done. It's a very complete system. It's a D6 system. I'm not a huge fan of D6 systems unless they're done well. And I feel that Russ Morrissey's What's Old is New is done very well. I'm a huge Savage Worlds fan. I love Savage Worlds and its ease of getting new players into it and everything like that. And I'm fast being converted that What's Old is New is even easier than Savage Worlds. And that's saying something in my book. I'm a diehard Savage Worlds fan, and this is fast becoming my go-to system. I'm very, very happy with it. Some of the cons, again, the art, the availability of the book. It's kind of hard to get. It's hit and miss on Amazon. I have seen the right there. Those 3 books, the digest size. I've seen them on Amazon come and go. These are. I couldn't find Now at the time that I was looking, because I was like, well, I'm a completionist. If I've got these 2, I should get Now. But this was delayed due to COVID. I bought the Ode about 3 weeks ago, and I just got it earlier in the week. I think it came in the mail, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. And it should have been here sooner than that, but because of COVID and printing and delays, it took a little bit longer. Another con is character creation. Is a little bit confusing. Like I said, it doesn't take terribly long. There is someone had made a PDF. I don't remember who it was, but it helps you, walks you through character creation. And while that concept is neat, it doesn't help if it's incorrect. And I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel that the notes and stuff that they give you and the formulas they give you are incorrect. If you go back into the book and you start reading what each formula does and how to configure it, it's different from that little PDF. So just be aware of that. I would not try to use shortcuts too much. Either use the character generator in Roll20, which is not really a character generator, it's just a character sheet, but it is useful if you're a Roll20 member and you have access to it. But on their website, the woinrpg.com, they have a character generator on their website. I would recommend making a character by hand through the book so that you get the process, you understand how to allocate the points and how they convert into dice. And then once you've made one or two characters on physically, then I would go on the website and try to play with it and see, because it's all about just making choices. But it does make it a lot easier. But it does all the complex math for you, and it figures out everything for you. You just have to make the correct choices, and you can screw that up, especially if you do things out of order or whatever. So be aware. I say make a character by hand, play with it, get to know how the numbers crunch, and then go on the website and play with their character generator. And I think you'll be doing yourself and your players and or your GM a service if you understand that thoroughly. Other than that, I got my book dirty. Oh, it's just glue. Kind of, who knows what I was messing with. I got a bunch of hobby stuff on the table behind me. I'm getting ready to play Frostgrave tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. So I'm trying to get some terrain knocked out from Warcry to use in our Warcraft game, or in our Frostgrave game. But that's neither here nor there. What else? You got your in the fantasy, you got your standard characters. I've gone over the characters in the new book. In fantasy, you've got your, let's see if they give us, yes. So we got humans, ogres, grand elves, sylvan elves, mountain dwarves, orcs, small folks, gnomes, goblin, and beast folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 different races. That's quite a bit. And then for origins, you've got a couple careers. It goes nuts. You can be everything from an assassin to a witch or a warlock, and everything in between. A lot of function, a lot of page real estate is given to the magic class because it's so diverse, and it makes sense. But you can be a diablerist, you can be a cleric, a burglar, a berserker, a battle mage, a barbarian, a knight errant, a lair guardian. It just goes on and on. They have a shinobi, which is obviously, lack of a better word, is a ninja, undead hunter, warrior, monk. So it's got a little bit of everything in here, man. You can really, I'm looking forward to running the fantasy version of it. I'm very excited, and I'm happy to have gotten the 1.2. I should also point out that they do have an option on Drive-Thru-RPG for any of these that you buy, any genres, the old, now, or new. You can get the PDF and the book for, if you buy the physical book, you basically get the PDF thrown in for the same price. So I think I paid $44 for this, and I got the PDF and the hardback book. And like I said, it's in really good shape. It's shipped. They protected it very well. Drive-Thru-RPG is solid. I've never had any problems with Drive-Thru-RPG. I have heard of other people that have, but it's usually when it's being shipped out of the country, and that's not Drive-Thru-RPG's fault. That's the Postal Service in the foreign countries, as well as the U.S. My box that this came in actually was pretty mangled. Luckily, on the inside, it was fine. As you can see, there's no dings or dents on it or anything. So, with that being said, it's a buy in my book. I think if you're looking for a generic, and that's the key here, don't pick this up thinking, oh, I'm going to get everything for Star Trek or I'm going to get everything for Star Wars. You're not. There's no default setting in here. There's no default deity system. There's no default urban setting or anything like that, or fantasy or current or sci-fi setting. There's nothing. It is just the rules, the races, the origins, and the backgrounds for to create your character, and equipment and or spells or psionics, if those two. So you have to know what you're getting into. You're not buying a setting here. You're buying a set of mechanics. You bring the setting, and so I think that's awesome. It's and like I said, it's really well done. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I haven't found anything yet where I felt it played wonky or it didn't feel right. I posted my What's Old is New second session the other day. It is about 3 hours long. That's about the typical time we play, and the audio is a little in and out, and so it might not be for everybody, but you can watch it and at least get a feel for the system. We had a pretty decent sized combat. We had 6 players and we had 6 bad guys, and it went relatively quick as long as your players are aware of what's going on in the round, and you don't have to. We weren't using miniatures or stuff, and I didn't have to. I don't think I spent too much time reiterating where the bad guys were. The players were all paying attention. They all knew what their abilities were, and it worked out really well. So the combat, I felt, went fairly quick for a combat that size involving 12 people. And yeah, it went really well. We did a little bit of role playing. My sessions tend to be about like one or two sessions will be role playing, and then one session will be combat. It's just I like leaving the players on a cliffhanger or hanging till the next 2 weeks so that everyone's pretty excited. And I gotta say, I've never gamed with any of these people except for Scandal. These are all internet people, and I couldn't be more lucky to have such a great group. So shout out to my players, Billman, Cross Just X, all of the guys, Timmy. And the problem is, if you spend any time on the internet, you have a username for YouTube, you have a username for Discord, you have a username for Roll20, and so some of these guys, if I get your names mixed up or whatever, I do apologize. But Timmy's been very prolific in writing. The gentleman who plays Mace is awesome. Billman is great. We're about the same age, and we seem to have a lot in common. And just all of the players are phenomenal. I'm very lucky to have such a diverse group of intelligent and very thoughtful players. It's really nice to not have to moderate when you're doing a theater of the mind game and telling people not to talk over each other. Everybody was. I'm so grateful that I have such a cool group, and it looks like about half of them are going to come along to play in my Degenesis game, which I'm very excited to be running that. I think I've got 4 players lined up, and very excited for that to be happening. That'll be first session will be next Tuesday. I am not recording that though, but if enough people ask, I might record it. So, guys, that's my thoughts on What's Old is New. It is a buy. If you have any questions or anything like that, put them down in the notes. Excuse me, hit me up on Discord. Excuse me, all the links are on my YouTube page. And give it a try, man. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you're looking for a generic system with no setting and you want to bring your own world, which I'm bringing my own sci-fi setting, and I'm very excited about my fantasy setting because I'm really looking forward to it. Definitely give What's Old is New a try. Go support the guys over at Ian World. They're a fantastic group of guys, and they do this stuff for fun as well as to make a little bit of money. And I'm happy to throw a couple bucks their way every so often when they bring out product, because so far everything they've brought out has been top notch. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for today. I wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet. We're just coming up on 30 minutes. I think I've babbled enough. And like I said, if you have any questions or concerns or constructive criticism, or if there's something you want to know about what's old is new that I did not cover in the review, go ahead and throw a question down in the notes below, and I will endeavor to answer it as soon as I can. So I'll get this posted. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And as always, remember, peace and hair grease. And Mr. Mean says, be nice.